I feel like you guys remember Nancy from Romper Room? And I see Bobby and I see Sharon and see David.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Sort
Yeah.
Just wait for them to say Sharon. They rarely said Sharon.
You have to write him a letter, Sharon.
I guess.
Uh-huh.
Carrie, did you see Romper Room? They probably rarely said Carrie.
They never said Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes. You be a good bee.
Do be a good bee. That's right.
What about the lady with the lamb? What was her name? Sherry. There it is. Oh, Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Lewis. Yeah.
Sherry. What was the lamb's name? I don't know.
Lammy.
Mammy.
Lammy.
Was it Lammy? I don't remember that.
All right, we're going to get started because we have a lot of good stuff. But
Okay.
I just want to point out that just now you probably heard us sharing stories, right? I mean, that's how we connect is through stories, little stories, big stories, sad stories, happy stories, funny stories. That's how we come together. So we're so grateful to have Lynn and Mary here today that are going to share some stories and talk about some opportunities for sharing stories. And Linda asked me just to do a little quick introduction. So mine's going to be, I'm going to kind of try to go quickly so we have time for them. So first of all, what is story? What is storytelling? I'd skip some. Storytelling is just somebody telling somebody else what happened, right? What happened when Carol, you were talking about, what were you guys talking about? iPhones or something today? Talking about phones today. So there was some stories going on about something that happened and you guys talked for about 30 minutes. Yeah.
No.
Yes, you were connecting. You didn't even know because, it feels so good to share and connect. Throughout history, people have interpreted the world around them and passed on lessons, right? We pass on lessons through stories, through myths, fairy tales that we read, parables, and anecdotes. Storytelling was used therapeutically in hospitals in the 1900s. It was actually a thing that was present in every hospital. And they had a whole section where they had books and you could come and read books and share stories and that sort of thing. We still have books in the hospital. I don't know if we still do, but the volunteers used to come around with a cart.
Oh, yeah.
With a cart full of books, right? I think that's actually left over from when this started in the 1900s. I'm just guessing that. And even before that, before the 1900s, archaeologists recently found a cave drawing that's 73,000 years old. It was a story that was carved on a rock using, charcoal and plants, and they said seal fat, abalone shells, that type of thing. And nobody knows what this story is here, but it's definitely was drawn on there with a different substance.
Deliberately.
And it was some sort of marking that indicated time passing or something that was happening.
It was graffiti, wasn't it?
Graffiti is
Who
a
knows?
yeah, that's right. So sharing stories is not just about telling a story, as I've been talking about. It's about the interaction between the storyteller and the listeners. Storytelling is an exchange of emotions, laughter, sadness, and a way to evoke these emotions. How many times do we get touched when we're listening to a story? How many of you have watched or listened to The Moth on NPR?
Oh, yeah.
I pull into my garage and I have to just sit there and hear the end of the story. And I'd say 50% of the time I get tearful at those stories. And many times I laugh at those stories. I love The Moth. We gain knowledge about other people's life experiences and our own. We learn about how much we have in common. Many times I think when we come here, we maybe have a problem that we're having and we're ruminating about it. And if we have the opportunity to tell other people a little bit about it, and then they share their experience with that, oh, I had that happen, or I had this happen, or, this made me laugh, or, it makes us not feel so alone. And we're not just ruminating on this one track of negativity about our story. So it helps open us up to feel not so alone in the world. Sharing stories, they've done studies on this, actually help reduce our anxiety. And it can reduce any shame that we have about ourselves. When we've done something that we think is, we haven't been the best mother that day, or, we've said something to somebody that we wish we hadn't said, sometimes we can just go throughout the day carrying shame about it. And that shame doesn't go away because we've got a single story in our head. But if we can have an opportunity to share with friends what happened, what we said, what we did, it takes away that shame because the light has been shining upon it now. And so it's not buried and dark and
Unloaded.
yeah, you've been able to unload and have somebody listen to it, and they listen to it and they ask you questions, and they didn't say, oh, you're a horrible person. How could you have done that? And they probably said, oh, I've done that, been there, done that sort of thing. So it takes away our shame. It builds our hope and our confidence and helps us feel resilient. Like we can go through life and make mistakes and recover from them and do the next thing, do the next mistake. And I love this, that storytelling increases our ability to smile and laugh. When my kids were very young, they still are wild, but they were especially wild. And there were so many times that it wasn't funny, the things that they were doing and the interactions we had were not always funny. But at the end of the year, I used to always write this Christmas letter. And Linda's gotten a few of those. And I would always tell a few of the stories. And by the time I finished writing the letter, these stories turned into this humorous event. And so I think telling stories sometimes takes an event that maybe has been hard. And when you start telling the story and there's been an okay outcome from what happened, 6 months ago, y'all got through it. It kind of can turn funny. How many of you have told a funny story about something that when it happened, it actually wasn't funny at the time? Has everybody had that experience? Yeah. So telling the story gives you an opportunity to pick out little pieces and see the humor in them and see how it wasn't all that dreary as you thought. And even mentioning that it was dreary is funny, So humorous stories help connect us to other people, allows us to process past events and see them in a new light. There's different types of storytelling, oral storytelling, and then of course written storytelling and visual storytelling. More and more of that, film, television, and the cave paintings are a type of visual storytelling. And then we have digital storytelling, engaging through online platforms, blogs, social media, and multimedia contact. A lot of that going on nowadays that we didn't have 10 years ago. And of course, there's always basic elements to every story. And this is Linda's slide, and I put it in here because our hope is in the future to maybe have some sort of storytelling part of our program where we can hear your stories and do something with them. And so just keep in mind, in every story, there's always character or characters. There's something going on around you. There's a problem or a theme to the story, and then there's a solution or an outcome of some sort. And we know that when we tell a story, all of these things come into play, but we don't realize all the pieces that we're including. Just kind of in summary, there's common threads in sharing stories. Stories help us attach meaning to the events in our lives, creates an understanding of how the pieces of our life fits together. Sometimes we don't know how we got here today. One of the best things I like to do is ask people when they've come in and I say, how you doing? And they say, oh, I'm here, I got here. And I ask, because it's a really big deal to get here. That's the hardest part when you're trying to get an exercise program going, is to show up and do the exercise. And so I say, well, how are you able to make yourself get here today? And they don't really know until they start telling me the story. And then they say, oh, well, I told my friend I was going to come, and so that's why I showed up today. Or, oh, I got these new workout shoes and I really wanted to wear them, and they were sitting out and I saw them. And so that's what got me here today, And sometimes we don't know why we do things until we tell a story about it. So all of you are here today. There's a story about why each of you are here today. How did you get yourself here today? And it's important to acknowledge that story, because that can get you here another day and another day. Telling stories makes our lives more memorable, improves our mood through laughter. So this is a Linda slide, and these are some links to ways to share stories and people who are sharing stories, and if you want more information about sharing stories. But
Well,
more,
I'm just impressed that there's actually a Sacramento storytelling guild. And they have monthly meetings. You go to these meetings and
Is that on this list?
that's on that list.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Can you print that out?
we can print it out.
Yeah.
And we'd like to explore something we can do here in the cardiovascular wellness program. So keep that in mind, maybe with some of our gerontology students or any students who are interested in this. This would be a great project. But today, Mary and Lynn are going to help us explore a little bit about storytelling. So take it away.
Are you first, Mary?
Huh?
Are you first?
I just wanted to kind of present what I do, but I don't know if it kind of, you know, so.
Mary has a long history of telling stories. and she
Yes.
Documents.
She prolific.
them.
You want to,
here, good?
you want to,
Let me-
where do you want her?
Come sit next to Lynn, and here's your microphone. Okay.
And it better be good, Mary.
Yeah,
I found
you're on the hot seat now.
I am on the hot seat. So. You just begin? Hi.
So there's your camera.
Oh. What do
So
I?
How long have you been doing this, Mary?
Not this far. I know, I don't computer, I not,
But when's the first time you made one of these?
I think back in probably 2004.
Okay, so 20+ years.
Yes. And I came up with the idea of, let me, you know, I didn't have I'm not a computer literate person, so I kind of just figured I'd type up the story, and then I came up with this brainstorm because my daughter is a teacher and went to the teacher store and found blank books that I could paste my things in.
Hold it up it's this camera, so and hold it up a little where
Huh?
the light is.
Where the light is?
Right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's a blank book.
Yeah.
And you could get it into a little, you know, box for about 10 of them. So I brainstormed them and got and this is probably the long way, but I went and got the pages where I could type this up and paste them into the book. And so I came up with that idea, you know, instead of being like my sister, who's the artist, she made up the printed book that you would usually go online and get it all printed out with all her oil paintings and everything.
That's her book.
That's her book, and then all these printings that she did all this, but it's her story. But I decided I'm going to go in and I guess get the book and just paste it together. And this is about my dad. And like I said, my sister and I had one talk one time. She said, I was wondering where the artist came from in our family, you know, because she has from elementary school on art. She always was into art. And so I traced back my dad's side, and he rebuilt a 1830 house for our family. I mean, inside and out, and it had the basement, and then so we got the artistic thing from his side of the family that goes back. In fact, we traced it.
It's genetic.
So the DNA, and that's what I do, is the DNA and all that. And I have probably about at least 400 books at home that I've done that, and probably cost a lot more than it would if I would have had it printed off. And so
Make one copy, or do you duplicate the number?
I only make one copy unless sometimes if I give it to my grandkids, I sometimes do it, but on most part, I don't do it. I have not, since it's all just me printing it off, using the labels and all that stuff, and I have to use my own ink. Wow, that's expensive. So that's how I've gotten there, but
I
it's,
didn't realize you were so prolific.
it,
20 years, that's 20 books a year, Mary, that's.
that's
That's
a,
impressive.
like I said, they give me stories and everything. I mean, my grandson who was in first grade and he was going to a charter school and he desperately wanted to go to third grade because that's where his friends were. And so him and I got together and I have the book over there, but we have a Walter Bubble we created. And we created a story about Walter Bubble playing basketball and everything. And he handed it over to his teacher. And he did the same thing what I did, all paste and everything. And he got to get to third grade. So as I said, it's the magic of it. But I found out through my DNA that a lot of things, we found our DNA is the artist and everything else in there. And then one time I went on the internet, my sister and I, and we actually found my grandfather, my dad's father's twin brother on the internet. And we traced its things back, and yes, we were related to that man and never knew he existed. And he came from the same town that they came from and everything. So this is all I just love the DNA and tracing people back and making my stories up.
And you did a beautiful job.
So anyways, that's about it. Like I said, I'd still continue to this day somewhat to
So
print.
what's the most recent one you've done?
Most recent one? It's had so many, I can't think of them. That, it's
Did you
just,
bring it or not?
huh?
Is the most recent one here?
I have to go. No, I have to check it out to see
You
if.
need to get a librarian, Mary, to make you a cat.
I probably do. I mean, like I said, I got
Yeah.
a creative idea, but nothing thrown together. And like I said, they've all put this together. And it's all in my bookcase at home. And I figured my grandkids, down the line, go on great grandkids and everything. I mean, I even made a story about, that why I talked to myself because I had a secret friend.
Oh, lucky you.
And made up that friend, where it is, where a lot of times when I was younger, I did more talking about that. And so these are little stories. It's kind of fun to say, yes, grandma was nuts.
A little more genetic. Huh?
But it's fun. It's just my artist. And then, like I said, it'll go nowhere. Except my grandson will probably took his books with him with Walter Bubble
Hmm.
and said he wanted it on his shelf. So and he's 20 years old now and he still wants it.
That's a good sign.
So basically that's where it all is. So
Thank you, Mary.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's nice you documented it all,
Mm-hmm,
because it could all be up there otherwise.
mm-hmm.
It would be lost.
I have a question. Is that kind of like scrapbooking, what they used to call scrapbooking?
Is it like scrapbooking, Mary?
I guess in a way it is, isn't it?
Well, your book is about your father, so usually when you scrapbook, it could be about your plants and your parents and. I used to do it years ago, but I haven't done it in so long, so. It kind of reminds me of that.
I think Craftwise is kind of similar, but with the scrapbook page, it's a little more generic and it's not necessarily stories, with characters and it's just a collage and a collections of things that relates to a certain thing. So there probably is a story in a scrapbook page, but there may or may not be depending
Well,
on.
yeah, because when I retired from the state, that was one of my gifts. They gave me a scrap It's a little book and it had all these beautiful pictures of
Mm,
what I did and what I didn't do, you know. It was nice.
Nice, Mary's just taken it to a next level because she actually writes a story about it so that there's a beginning and a middle and an end probably, and it's connected a little better than a one-page synopsis of, you know, the barbecue of 2015 would be. But very similar. So Lynn, did you do similar stuff? You have your own little group that, do they actually write things
Well-
down? They just talk?
I became acquainted with writing groups when I was a student here. And my husband Jim and I were participants in the cardiac program. And one of the opportunities offered by the Renaissance Society here on campus was a writing group. And I joined that group and I enjoyed it very much. Then going forward, we were active participants in this community and lived nearby. And my husband checked out. He was very ill and died, and so our family dynamics changed, and I moved to River's Edge, which is a nearby senior community. And when I became familiar there, I learned about a writing group that was in effect already going. So I joined that outfit. And then they disbanded when the leader left, and I appointed myself the leader. And now that's my job. So Laura, will you pass around those little items?
These are things you want back, Mom?
Yes. At River's Edge, we have decided to have a monthly meeting wherein those who care to join and participate are invited. And we choose a theme that is the subject for everybody who's participating. And we gather once a month and share our stories. One of the nice things about that group is that we have constantly new people coming into our community, and I always invite them to come just to listen, sit in, and they can become acquainted with some of the participants, and perhaps it might be a subject they would like to engage in themselves. Yes, sir.
Is that getting captured, what they talk about?
No, we don't record it. I guess that would be possible, but I think it might put a little stoppage on the willingness to talk about things. Yes, ma'am.
Example of some, like one of the prompts that you might have or that people are then going to come and talk about?
I think it's coming around. Yeah. I would like to have those back when they're finished. I'd like to read a story that I wrote some years ago. It's a story of a happening from some years ago. I entitled it New Experiences. In the spring of 1974, my husband, James Arthur Livingston, was recruited for and accepted a change of assignment from his work as a professor of education at Sacramento State to join a consortium of educators from California to work within the United States Agency for International Development, which is no more, we know, as a consultant, working out of the Brazilian Ministry of Education and Culture. Offices located then just recently, as were most governmental agencies, in the 16-year-old new city of Brasilia. This was quite a departure from his usual work, although he was well prepared to serve in an advisory role. Jim packed up and headed for the Foreign Service Institute Language School in order to study Portuguese and the Brazilian culture, as well as to get acquainted with his fellow team members who would also join the project. I was a young mother of 4 and a recent graduate of a master's program also at Sac State in the Department of Education. We owned a house in a nice Strang neighborhood with a lot of other faculty type neighbors and a good system of community support. So although inexperienced in being in charge alone, I was very supportive of my husband's opportunity to accept this new appointment and really look forward to the challenges and new experiences which we could all enjoy. My father, Frank Andrew McEnany, had served in Brazil as a Navy commander on a salvage ship in the Second World War. I remember treasuring the tissue paper airmail letters he sent to my mother while he was away. I still have some of his letters, written in his beautiful penmanship. I think that this memory made a move to Brazil more intriguing to me, as I had a connection with my father's recollections and the gifts which he had sent home during his service there. My sister and I had received tortoise-shell barrettes with our names embedded in silver, dolls which rested on our beds for years, which flipped by turning a skirt from a Carmen Miranda to a local Baiana. I do not remember why we called her Edame. A move to Brazil seemed like something I really wanted to do. Jim had been invited to join this group 2 years earlier. However, he had declined because of our reservations related to schooling and health care for our young family. In 1974, our girls, Laura, raise your hand, Laura, Maria, and Francis were 12, 11, and 7, all doing very well in school and having lots of friends and activities in our Carmichael community. Our son Jamie was just a baby of 1 year, cutest little red-headed, curly-haired boy you ever did see. New experiences for me opened up almost immediately on the day Jim left for the Foreign Service Institute. Our family of 6 made its way to the Sacramento airport in our 1972 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser in order to deliver Jim for his flight to Washington. Jim drove. I had never driven to the airport. I had moved from my parents' home into my married household, and I did not have any experiences of doing it, whatever it was, all by myself. In my life, there'd always been an advisor, a support person, a superior presence, and I had never really been placed to be in charge of any situation. Consider this. You drive to the airport as a passenger. After you let the all-time primary driver out of the car to go to Washington, D.C., you have to drive your 4 children home. Let's just say we got home. I was greatly relieved that I could accomplish something that important all by myself. It was the beginning of a new learning experience. I was on a new road on my own devices. So on to the future. I discovered during the following months that I could accomplish many other things all by myself as I gained experience in the special situations which presented themselves. For example, I successfully managed our household, including 4 children. I independently identified qualified tenants and planned for the leasing of our home. I secured a property manager to oversee our home in our absence. I managed the storage and packing of all our goods for air, shipping, and retention on site. I negotiated the sale of our car and packaged in a free ride to the airport for our family of 5. Each of our girls had on a winter coat in September and was responsible for her own carry-on bag, and I followed up with baby James to board the planes. People remarked about our entourage as we also did stop for a visit in Iowa with Jim's parents, Bud and Edna Livingston, en route to joining him in DC. 2 years later, we made our return through Iowa in order to participate in the celebration of their 50th wedding anniversary. Jim, in his rented car, picked us up at the airport and gave us a wonderful tour of the national monuments, which were illuminated in the night time of our arrival. The next day, we all flew to Florida and boarded a flight to Brasilia, and the next chapter of our even many more new experiences. That's it.
That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Be fun to hear your story too, Laura.
Oh, God.
So
I'll have to write it down
Yeah.
from the next.
I've continued to participate in writing groups, and I find it very interesting. And I enjoy it, and I've met a lot of very nice other people who also enjoy it.
So
Perhaps
the
you,
group you're doing at River's Edge, do they actually write their stories down or they just meet and talk about them?
oh no, we write them. It's a little open-ended.
Mhm.
If someone came who was just a visitor for the first time, they could just sit in and listen or tell a little story or, get the feeling going. So it's been a very nice, yes, ma'am. Yes, in fact, I always invite newcomers so that they can just become acquainted with the residents and get to feel more comfortable. It's a nice icebreaker.
And then the writing part, are they using technology now? Are people doing it on their laptops or how are they actually physically writing stuff down?
However they choose,
Okay.
whatever their skills are.
Has that changed over time? I bet it has.
I haven't observed that very much. Most people have computers, but
That's not part of what you're doing. They're on their own to figure that part out.
yes, yes. Are there any questions? Other questions?
I could just see that might be a place where some student help might really be nice.
They're welcome. We've had once a month on the second Tuesday,
So you just had it.
first Tuesday. Yeah,
And how many people were there this week?
6.
Six.
It doesn't even really matter how many there are because whoever comes does their thing. Did you have a question? No?
I believe that's the first Tuesday, March 3rd.
I don't know. I think, yeah. We meet at 1:30. And I'll send an invitation to Linda, so we'll post it, right? Great. Okay,
You mentioned.
yes.
Okay, it's funny you mentioned another fourth where, we were partnered up with older adults who are applying.
Oh,
Yeah, are you participating in the program with that?
I'm not now. That's where I got my inspiration.
Do you think the Renaissance still has that class or not?
I don't know.
I don't even.
Yeah,
I'm in a class like that. We, we're partnered up with people who are part of,
Right, that's 120 something, right?
yeah.
do you enjoy it?
Well, I did my initial contact, with the career days ago, so I haven't. met
Oh, yeah,
her Yet, but
uh-huh,
I should be, either tomorrow or.
great. You're welcome to come to our gathering. Sir,
I always admire people that write stories down because I hate writing.
oh, why don't you could record it?
Well, there's a thing for the California Department of Transportation, their library. They have what they call oral history,
Mm-hmm,
and they have somebody that interviews people about an event, something that happened. So they capture that.
good,
That's a nice way to do
it is. How did you learn about that? How did you learn about that?
I was interviewed one time.
Oh. Did you have a particular situation that,
I was involved in the Loma Prieta earthquake
oh,
event,
yes.
so they wanted to know what I did.
Hmm.
Going back to this resource slide, this,
That's good.
the Capitol Public Radio. I guess I'm not in the.
Laura, will you collect my handouts?
This mouse is just spastic.
Well, use the pad.
And that's not the problem.
You're back. You're back with like.
So the Capitol Public Radio actually has a program where they'll come to your neighborhood and record a story that's going on. I thought that was kind of interesting. And they must air these on their radio show. If anyone's ever listened to NPR,
Yeah,
John might know the answer to that.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. And
where's John?
he's on Zoom.
Oh,
This this is an agency. I don't care about that. So there's an organization here called the Capitol Storytelling Group. It teaches people how to tell their own narratives. They have classes and they host live events. They have workshops all the time. There's a workshop in March 29th, a virtual class you could do. So they have opportunities there through this group called Capitol Storytelling.
could you make a printout
You
of
bet,
this
you bet.
info?
And the other one that looked kind of fun, and the B Street Theater does something too. Oh yeah, this guild, that was just intriguing to me that there's so much funny pop-ups come up. We don't want that.
Storytellers Guild.
So there's the Sacramento Poetry Center, which is sort of in Midtown, 25th Street, 1715. So they have there's actually a Storytellers Festival coming up March 21st. And there's some, I guess, famous storytellers that are coming to this event. That's going to be at the Oak Park Community Center. So there's lots of opportunities to go and listen to stories here in our community. And there's also lots of opportunities in our own room to come up with stories too, which is where I'm hoping some of this will go. The B Street Theater has a storytelling series. March is all you can eat. That sounds like a great theme. February's theme is the people who made us. And here's the featured storytellers that are coming when they have these events. So there's a lot of opportunities here in Sacramento to tell stories, and there's one. May did I not find this as a resource? So these are just all programs. There's also companies out there, I guess. You could go online and find and maybe sure I must have taken that one out. There's a place where you can subscribe and pay. It wasn't a lot of money. It was like $100, and they send you a monthly prompt, and you're supposed to feed back to them probably through an email or some sort of virtual method to electronically really answer the question. And then this company basically types up all your responses and prints it in a book for you to give to your family.
Oh.
It was kind of fun. And you have obviously a lot of freedom to not answer the question if you don't want to, or to come up with your own questions. But I think some people like the prompts and the notions of kind of what to do with it. So there's choices there. We could look into more in that. Thank you, Liz, for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other comments
Feel
or
like I'm
questions?
back home.
Well, you are home.
Mhm.
Okay, everybody, any questions out there in Zoom land? Karen, Lowry, are you really out there?
I'm here and it was wonderful. It was so good to see and hear both Mary and Lynn.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed with their creativity and their writing skills, and very inspiring for those of us who don't do as much productively with our time. It
Exactly.
was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see all of you.
All right. And you're still home for a while.
Yeah, we're doing a delay for
Okay.
for a bit to try something. Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.